today's Buckeye Roast, we start with the Ryan Day press conference, breaking down the key quotes and updates as Ohio State prepares for Week 3. We'll also check in on the Buckeyes who transferred out with a look at their early season starts and how they're performing with their new schools. Then we've also got a nickname debuting on the show, plus the latest Black Stripe alert out of camp. And to wrap it up, the big picture debate. What playoff format do you like best? I'm Chris Drew, and this is the Buckeye Roast with Ron and Q right here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back for a special live edition of the Buckeye Roast here with my guy, QP Ski. Q, I know these are your favorite type of shows. How you doing?
What made this a special live edition? The fact that we could coordinate last night, so we're now live.
Yeah, we're live because neither one of us could find a time to record last night. It was like, well, I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Sure. Oh man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just trying to get out. Last show in the old apartment, so yeah, the end of a apartment air. On to the next one.
We have some breaking news. Q's officially moving into the Playboy Mansion, replacing Hugh Hefner. Congratulations on the move.
And Chris Drew will be officially replacing me. So I have better things to do.
But you missed the other day because I joked on the show that you were starting a WNBA podcast. You did attend a WNBA game. Q, how was it?
Oh, it was awesome, man. So let everybody know I have a friend in town that works with me on the movie side of my podcast lookbook there. So he came in town. He's a big WNBA fan. He watched the Sparks and he's going out to LA to see them. But they were playing here against Phoenix this weekend. So we went to the game. Honestly, it was very awesome. We did a club, so we had food and drinks, and there was things like free wine and beer, things like that included. And then we were like right behind the scorers table. I know he almost got the floor seats. He was really pressed to get them. I was like, man, we'll be fine. We're in the third row. So we actually got a story. So we're in the third row. Great seats, great game. My biggest complaint, right? So we had 3 seats, but they weren't all together. They were like, he bought the last ticket a couple of days later because one of our friends who also does movie reviews came with us. So we're trying to find that third seat, but it's the fourth quarter. We're trying to sneak. No, it's third quarter. We're trying to sneak in. We pretty much spent the first half in the clubhouse. So our friend Christian, he like stops for a second so we can find his third seat by this lady, and this lady's like, "Can you move out the way?" Like about like just being like a straight Karen, like for real. So Tristan, who's my other friend, after he goes and he finds his seat, she's like, "That guy wouldn't move," and he turns to her. He's like, "Oh, he's deaf in his right ear." Because his right ear is close to her. And she was like, well, he should have been deaf in his other ear because he was in the way. And I'm like, oh my God.
Zero sympathy. We had Chris Drew fill in on the show yesterday, and he brought up, man, you know what it means when you see like one of them Instagram baddies courtside at the NBA games, and they're like, you see Q courtside at a WNBA game. Did him and the boys get flew out? And I had to remind him, I was like, it's a local game, so unless it's someone local on the team that's getting Q access, I don't think Q got flued out.
Yeah, man. Kelsey Plum, Cameron Brink both invited me to the game, so I was on the sideline. Yeah. It was funny. You don't understand how tall the girls are in the WNBA. I've seen the Minnesota Link in person. They came to a local hotel, and we were there at the same time. And they were gigantic. And then seeing Cameron Brink in person,
at the same time. See this? He thinks he's low. He thinks he's low.
I was thinking I was getting a drink. They were like walking in. They walk right past you. I'm just like, and I'm like 6'4" for reference, and I'll tell you how tall they are.
See, and now if your girlfriend or your wife is lying to you like Q is right now, and she was sitting courtside at an NBA game without you and just happened to be at the same hotel as the players, let me know what you guys would think in the chat.
Too funny. But no, it was a great game. Great experience. Support your local WNBA team.
We don't have one, so I'm not going to be able to help you out there. Q, you did have some other notes that you wanted to get to. It seems like things are getting out of control in college sports right now.
Yeah, actually, we touched on this before a little bit with John Mateer, who did not get banned for the season, but a couple of guys did. So the NCAA bans 3 men's basketball players permanently for both betting on their team or betting on their game and manipulating the outcome of their own game. So, Ron, my question for you and the chat, obviously, is how much do you think this goes across college sports right now and is not being covered? Nobody knows. Like, how much percentage of college players you think bet on their own game and nobody has any clue?
Bet on their own game. I would imagine there's a good bit. I would say at least 2%, I would imagine, are trying to bet on their own games or have someone use a betting account. I mean, this is all allegedly, but who knows? You know the financial constraints that people are facing all across the country right now. And I mean, you heard who was it talking about it the other day? Michael Porter Jr. saying like, "Hey, we made fun." Because he was like, you could go out there and make a couple grand. He's making $48 million a year, and he's talking about throwing parlays to make 20 grand for some of his friends. But you see that there's plenty of people out there with the same capability as Michael Porter. I mean, they have the same amount of impact on their games. Their games are just as bettable. They all have spreads. So, I mean, people with more dire constraints than Michael Porter Jr. could be tempted to be doing this. I don't know how rampant it is, but it feels like we're getting one of these stories every other week nowadays.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And everybody's not making the 50 million Michael Porter Jr. is making. I mean, NBA minimum is what, $400K before tax. So, yeah, 20 grand for some people, especially if you're in college, it could do you well. So I'm with you. I think it goes on a little bit, not too much, but obviously, if you're gonna do it better than these men basketball players because they got caught and now their career is pretty much cooked. So just wanted that. But that's all I had before we get to the show. You got anything else before you play the song?
I wanted to give a big shout out to our guy, Mike, the first one in the chat. We are actually live today, so say what's up. We appreciate seeing all the usuals in there. Charles, Emily, A. Rizzle, Bucks by Fitty. We appreciate everybody tuning in live. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you repost that video. If you are on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button. We actually hit 100 likes yesterday, back on schedule, so appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. It helps us a ton and pushes the episode as well. But let's get into it.
Play the song. I love when something's not working right. Ron will tell you. He's got to watch his face.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's the second time I've went to play a video this morning, and then StreamYard has just looked at me like, I'm not ready yet. Q, Ryan Day spoke to the media yesterday. That's why he's on the thumbnail. We have an interesting title today. Ryan Day just flipped the script. Is there a Buckeye surge incoming? Before we talk about recruiting, my favorite topic around here, he had a couple other things that he mentioned. One of the first things that he talked about was Will Kaczmarek, a guy that we've talked about on this program a couple times this year, and the ascension that he has made since getting to Ohio State. Came in as a strong in-line tight end last year. We see him getting more involved in the passing game. It looks like his blocking has even leveled up more than last year. It felt like when the NIL era was announced that a lot of people talked about how much the money around the sport would dictate the depth chart. And we're concerned that, hey, if a guy's getting paid $1 million or if a guy's getting paid in the transfer portal, are we going to see him just automatically be on the field because that's where the money's being spent? And the way you've seen people be used this year and the way you've heard people talk about Will Kaczmarek, it seems like the opportunity to play over people that came here in the transfer portal, or regardless of how much they're making, you see the situation with Ethan Onua. on the bench right now on the offensive line, it seems like the Buckeyes are going to play the best player, and you're going to get your opportunities as long as you're performing on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you have seen that thus far. I mean, I was one of the persons who said, "Can you keep Ethan on the bench?" I mean, that was your big money prospect coming into the season. Like, can you afford to keep him over there if Phillip Daniels is playing better? And Ryan, they clearly said, "Yeah, I'll do it if they're the best players are hitting the field." So, I mean, that's refreshing because I mean we've talked about that for years with quarterbacks. We bring in a quarterback committee. You know how much those cost through the transfer portal. Do they have to play? You know, so it's good to see Ryan Day has kind of submitted that and said the best players will play on the field. I think Will Kaczmarek has outperformed what we thought he was going to do this season. We thought again he's going to be an inline blocking tight end. He's obviously overperformed that. I think Max Clare is a pro, and I think Jelani Thurman eventually will be a pro. So if he can hold off them, I mean, that speaks well to his pro career. Can he be another guy to go to the NFL? I mean, we know Ohio State puts tight ends, especially blocking tight ends, in the NFL and does it at a high case. So Will Kaczmarek could be the next one, but I mean, shout out to him. We'll see if he can hold off that spot. But right now, he's doing all you can ask for.
Absolutely balling out. And a shout out to that entire tight end room. The level of competition in that room is great to see, and they continue to battle. Q, I had a stat of the day. We just started chit-chatting, and I completely missed it. I'm looking at the show note and saw that I missed it.
You want to know about Cameron Brink. So
yeah, bro, you started talking about Cameron Brink, and then it was over. Stat of the day. It's a number mixed with a stat. The number is 17. The Buckeyes have 17 losses in the college football playoff era, the least in all of college football. Is that surprising?
Yeah. I mean, college football playoff has only been around 11 years, so 17 losses. I mean, I would have honestly, it hasn't felt like we've lost many games. So the fact that that's the least, I mean, that's very impressive, especially the fact that we haven't made more playoffs. But I mean, hey. Talked about that consistency, and that's what it's about. So hopefully that number stays at 17, and we can go through another year and undefeated and use the stat next season.
Right? It'd be nice to have that stat for a long time.
Throwback.
A shout out from Emily. Hi, Ron. Happy Thirsty Thursday. That should say hi, Q, because that he's the one that's more likely to partake in a Thirsty Thursday.
I got to move first, and then we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Q got to do a little bit of manual labor today. You know he's going to have to rehydrate with the beverage.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. This is also off topic. So my friend is he's staying at the W Hotel, which is one of the nicer hotels in Scottsdale. So he booked a room, and it wasn't what he thought. He booked like a suite. It was like a smaller suite, but it wasn't that nice. So they were like, okay, we'll upgrade you. Don't worry about it. So we moved, and now we have he has this gigantic room with all glass windows facing the pool. And they're like, yeah, all right, we got to throw a pregame now.
Oh, man, that's too funny. I want to get back to the Ryan Day press conference. I got a little sidetracked there when I saw the stat. I liked that one, and I wanted to make sure I got it in the show. He said it was great to get the young guys on film early against Grambling because they can start to correct things with them. We talked in years past, it felt like when we were struggling early, especially in the 6 era, that we couldn't blow out teams early in the season, and we weren't getting young guys on the field because games were still way too competitive. In the third quarter, you see the Buckeyes go out there and handle business in the first half. How impressed were you with the Buckeyes' ability to execute? It was Grambling, but they went out there and executed perfectly to the point that we were able to put the starters on the bench at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, you start to see guys roll in the second quarter. So, I mean, it's always impressive, like you said. Even you said what Cam said, man, going 17 or 16 or 16 or 15 or 15 on air is hard, let alone in a real game. So, obviously, the offense was buzzing. It was good to see Brian Hartline offense work really well and basically execute to perfection, almost like one interception from it. So, that was awesome. And, yeah, we talked about the importance of getting young guys on the field, and especially we went through it plenty of seasons where guys get hurt and guys got to step in and play at a high level. We know the talent is there, but you don't want to, like I said, you don't want a guy's first game going in against Michigan or Penn State and being like, oh, well, we have no other choice. Good luck out there. And Malik Harford's like, what? You had some time to help me get prepared.
Everybody's like, why did he get his head around? It's like, I don't know, maybe because it's like rep 9 this year.
First play in college, maybe. Maybe that's why. So, no, I mean, that's really good to see. And not only that, I mean, the young guys rewarded Ryan Day. They absolutely balled out on Saturday. I mean, that's what everybody's been talking about all week. Like, these guys performing, Riley Pettijohn with a touchdown, but all over the field, guys were playing well. So they backed Ryan Day's decision to let them play early, and this builds his confidence to let him do it in the future.
Another topic that people have been really hammering this week is the punting situation. A lot of people unhappy with Brandon Innis's performance at punt return. It seems like Ryan Day is unhappy with punt return in general, not specifically just Brandon Innis. He talked about the amount of yards that they left on the field in the punting game, and they said it was about 47 yards, and it wasn't necessarily yards in the return game, but letting the ball bounce. And Chris and Zach talked about this on Menace yesterday about the important, like what the key roles of the punt returner is. And it's like, one, don't give the ball back to the other team. And the second one is don't let it bounce and let it roll. Make sure that you're fielding the ball. And I feel like Ryan Day was unhappy with the amount of times that the punt hit the ground. They said it was a little windy, and they said that the Grambling punter, the ball came off his foot a little funky. I don't know how much I'm buying that, but it seems like Ryan Day plans to stick with Brandon Innis on the punt return. It'll be interesting to see if they're at least able to clean up the fielding aspect. Are you surprised that Ryan Day plans to continue to go with Brandon Innis back there?
Am I surprised? No. Should he? No. It's just, you have and we've talked about this. We talked about players, like finding ways to get players involved in the game. Brandon Innis is going to play minimum 30, 40 snaps on offense. Like he's going to play, especially in a closer game, maybe not against Ohio, but definitely down the stretch. I mean, giving guys like Mylan Graham, who we talked about all week, and Bryson Rogers a chance to touch the ball and get involved in the game. Everybody saw Bryson Rogers catch that one punt. It looked pretty dynamic. It's just an opportunity I feel like it's missed. And yeah, I agree. We can't let the ball hit the ground because our field position has been horrible. I mean, we did it against Texas, and we were pretty much stalled most of the second half. And I mean, Grambling State is Grambling State, so we were able to move the ball. But the field position game comes very important, especially when you're playing like talent in those games. It's like, man, if we're starting every possession at the 10, they're going to score eventually, or they're going to have a chance to. So I think he could do some shifting around, maybe switch to punter. I know he talked about punt return, but maybe can we get some punts?
Nope, he actually did talk about that. Joey McGuire, still your punter.
Okay,
you're skipping ahead in the notes.
Well, that was my bigger concern, but I guess he's got it figured out. But yeah, I have a little concern. But am I surprised he's sticking with what he got through camp? No, I'm not.
I wanted to ask you. Emily says Rogers looked great. I don't understand why he wasn't mentioned. Do you think that's like they don't feel comfortable putting someone that's not playing regular snaps out there cold, like just to field a punt in like a super important moments in the game, like as the season becomes more important? Like, do you feel like that plays a factor in, hey, I'm not throwing someone out there that's not in the game on a regular basis, getting snaps and involved in the game early?
I mean, in a way, I get it. Like the first time you touch the ball on a punt return is probably difficult, but I mean, we've seen guys have these punt return specialists throughout college football forever. Seeing these dynamic players, and they just find a way to have them touch the ball. So I don't necessarily think it's necessary. I mean, y'all are sitting on the sideline, go catch some balls, like go keep yourself warmed up. But it just allows more players to get involved in the game. So I could see that aspect, but do I think it's valid? I mean, not really. I mean, no matter what sport you play, at certain times you don't play a lot, and you're called into the game to go and make an impact. So for me, I don't know. Just my history playing sports, I don't really think that's a thing. But if that's Ryan Day's philosophy, I can't argue with it. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know if that's Ryan Day's philosophy. He didn't mention that. That's the Ron James conspiracy. Like I have no idea. I was just wondering. I was more wondering what you thought about my idea that may be playing a factor, less than the actual logic behind it.
I mean, that's what he does. So we can't say it's not his philosophy. You are who you show us you are. So I mean, I could see that being a point. Like, okay, this guy hasn't really played. I don't want to put him out there in a big moment, but I mean, you practice all week. There's certain situations, like how many Hail Marys do you throw in a game? Should be like, yep, we should just run it out because Julian says they're throwing a Hail Mary in 3 games. Like,
right, we only kick so many field goals, so it's like, like, oh, we're not going to kick this field goal. He hasn't kicked one in 2 quarters,
Yeah, your kicker is the biggest. Like, you have to kick field goals. Your kicker is the biggest example of that. So I don't really think that's a thing. But I mean, maybe I do. I don't know. We need credentials. We got to ask these hard questions because I can't answer.
Yeah. Ask the tough question. Ryan Day talked about the upcoming opponent in Ohio. You ask a Michigan fan, it's the same team playing the same team. Always calling us Ohio versus Ohio.
Won't give us that state.
Ryan Day says this game is big for the state of Ohio. It gives kids an opportunity that didn't get a chance to go to Ohio State, a chance to play in a horseshoe. A lot of these guys do grow up Ohio State fans, and it was something I didn't even consider. But that is, I think, going to be a cool moment on Saturday for a lot of the kids that played at Ohio. And again, I don't think this is an Ohio team that's like coming in shock and awe like those teams that like show up like Make-A-Wish teams at like Duke or Ohio State and walk around and they're taking pictures before the game. Like, I think Ohio State's going to come in and try to get a win in Ohio Stadium, not just be happy to be there.
Yeah, like I said, it's an upgrade from last week, which is nice, kind of how you want your progression. So, but yeah, I mean, again, if they wanted West Virginia, they're like, hey, we can beat these big time teams. They had a close game against Rutgers. So, I mean, I think they're going to show it some stuff. Obviously, every time we play an opponent, they're pulling out the kitchen sink like Greg Schiano used to every time. He would just pull out plays. It's just like, come on, man. Try to get this game over and go home, but fine. We'll put Chris Olave back in and score another touchdown. Like, all right, we get it. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll be an entertaining game. Good luck to Ohio. I mean, we'll see what they bring, and obviously a chance for the Buckeyes to get better. So yeah, I don't think they'll be shocked walking in at all. They'll be like, hey, we got a big conference win. Let's get another one.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a cool game for Ohio, a night game. So it'll be interesting to see the atmosphere. Do you think the Buckeyes are
a night game?
Do you think the Buckeyes are going to turn up for OU just given the environment?
Yeah. Isn't it all gray? Is it all gray uniform for Ohio game?
I'm not sure what the uniform is, but I know it is a stripe out in the crowd.
Game. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's a good atmosphere. I mean, I don't know how amped the students are to say we got Ohio. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this party by halftime. But I mean, hopefully it's a good atmosphere. I mean, I think it's a chance for people who, you know, when the bigger teams come and the tickets get ridiculous, it's a chance for those people to go see games and be like, oh, I can take my family because I can actually afford it now versus paying my salary like we talked about with the Pittsburgh fans. So. It'll be a chance to get them to come and show up. So hopefully the shoe will be packed and rocking. And like I said, Ohio State's atmosphere has delivered the last few weeks. So I'm going to keep it rolling.
I don't want to hear anything about leaving to go for a party for a night game. Like, that is the pregame. Like, the game's going to be over by 11. You're 21, 22 years old. Where the hell are you going? Like,
11 is late.
You're right. You're just getting out. Like, you're just about to go out. Like, you might as well stay in the stadium, keep drinking there.
Well, you think about it. If you're technically, I guess, not buying – you're in college, so you're broke. You're not buying alcohol in the stadium, so you're coming in buzzed. So when that buzz leaves, probably
around 5 it's 2020. Like, you're sneaking a flask in. What kind of loser undergrad? You're getting drunk
with that flask
in the stadium.
You're
still drinking. You're going to the game. I mean, you're going to the game, and then by the end of the game, like, you're hitting the streets. And again, it's college. Like, it's not like, oh, the bars close at 2, the night's over. Like, what's the rush? Where are you going?
Well, you know you want to catch the pregame. See,
the pregame started 4 hours before the game. Again, you're in college. This is a 12-hour drunken stupor.
I'm just saying, as a person who used to take wine to class, drinking class, I was through in my drink by the half of the break period. And then I'm like, oh, my bus is going to wave off. So I'm out of here against this second half of class, which looks like the Ohio State-Ohio game. And I'll get into the pregame.
There's 2 different types of degenerates in high school. I mean, in college. The people that take their alcohol to class and drink, and the people that don't go to class to drink alcohol. I was in the other category where I'm not going to class and drinking. If I'm trying to drink, I ain't even going to class.
Look, man, I had to show up, had to get my attendance, but the class was nonsense. It was my only night class.
Do better
ever
on
in
your
college.
test. I don't need an attendance grade to pop up my grade.
No, we just had a pride. The class was nonsense. It was shout out to the teacher. He was cool, but it was nonsense. And I was like, hey, look, man, don't give me a night class. That's on you. So I'm bringing wine.
Had one night class and stopped going. I ended up with 102% in my accounting course.
My accounting score was not quite as high, but I digress.
Ryan Day had some interesting things to say about recruiting. Everybody knows I'm a big recruiting guy around here. That's why I started and founded Ron 3 Rankings. But you look at the title, Ryan Day just flipped the script. Buckeyes surge incoming? Question mark. And he had some interesting things to say. He said it really comes down to once you get to December, that's what matters, Day said. Now more than ever, you see guys commit someplace, go somewhere else, and things change. We feel like we have some really good guys committed right now, and we're going to make a hard push here over the next couple of months to finish out the class and then figure out what's right in the transfer portal for us. We feel like it's really important to make sure we have the right guys and the right fit. Our coaches are working hard towards that. And I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to sign a great class. Q, the Buckeyes currently sit at 9 in the recruiting rankings. We have talked in years past. I mean, the Buckeye fans have freaked out about recruiting year after year after year. And I don't see any real concerns outside of maybe some depth on the defensive line, but we've done countless episodes about how packed this roster is. It seems like when the Buckeyes go out and identify a guy that they want and land them, they tend to be pretty good and line up with what they felt like they saw on film. The numbers are a little bit low in this class as far as number of 5 stars and just overall players in the class. Talked in years past about Ryan Day and this Ohio State staff signing guys too early. And then we get to this part of the year when the Buckeyes are playing great football, but people are poaching our class, and the Buckeyes aren't doing much poaching themselves. Did Ryan Day just give us the coach speech word salad, or are we about to see the Buckeyes actually surge in recruiting? Because it feels like a pivot from years past where they have everybody locked in and then they don't make any moves. And it sounds like, are the Buckeyes going to finally open their pocketbook and get aggressive here in the last final months?
Well, Ryan Day has impressed me on the field recently, and I don't have much to complain about. So I will be optimistic. I'll be optimistic today. I mean, he's not wrong, and we've talked about this the last couple years. Yeah, it's basically recruiting is, I may get a commitment early, but at the time that signing window comes, everybody or 95% of players are up for grabs. How much you're able to offer them, how much you want to convince them. I used to think like, why are we going after these guys so hard in July? Because when it comes December time, the big checkbooks come around, and it doesn't matter how long they've been committed to you. We've seen guys committed over a year flip on signing day and act like they never committed to Ohio State. They didn't even answer calls from coaches. So we've seen that. So, I mean, I think that is ideal. I think your hard push should be in that December window, trying to get guys right before and hitting that interest, because at that point, you just call them all day, hope they answer, and, hey, give them an offer. So hopefully Ohio State will get competitive. Now, I think to this point of this roster, Ohio State has hit on their lower star prospects, and I think they've done a really good job there. I mean, guys like Arvell Reese, Jalen McClain, they weren't big national prospects, and they were talking about
Austin Saraville.
Yeah, so they're really hitting their mark with either developing that talent or hitting on that talent when everybody else doesn't see it. So I think they are doing a good job. But I also think eventually, like when you don't hit your top prospects year after year after year, it probably will catch up with you at some point. And we've seen it here at defensive end. We brought in 2 guys, and we look at them and we're like, oh, man, like, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have that sack artist that I've been talking about with the pass rush. So I think it's a good idea for Ohio State to push and really try to get guys and just buy in. I mean, keeping your players at the end of the window was very important. You don't want to put in all that work. We heard Mike Pantoni talk about it. He put in all this work and lose a guy at the last minute just because somebody's offering him double. It doesn't feel good. And also, it just gives you a chance of, if Ohio State is somewhere in the ballpark of these big-time recruits, everybody wants their 5 stars and high 4 stars. I mean, we feel like with what we see on the field, team just won a national championship. If they are at least somewhere in the ballpark, guys are going to be like, okay, I can either go somewhere and disappear for a couple years or take that risk, or maybe I'm good enough to just perform no matter where I go, i.e. Dylan Stewart, and go ball out of South Carolina. Or I know Ohio State is proven, and I may take a little lesser money, but my chances of going to the NFL are that much higher per statistics. We all know that. So, yeah, I think if Ohio State finds a way to get competitive, they're going to pull in some really good classes. And like I said, it hasn't hurt Georgia. It hasn't hurt Alabama, and they're in the same ballpark. Why is it hurting Ohio State? So we got to get in the same ballpark at least and get these guys. So I hope Ryan Day is speaking, not coach speak, but he's saying, okay, I've heard this from the higher ups, and now they don't want what's happening on the field to diminish.
Absolutely. And you see what they're putting out on the field. It should give the Buckeyes an advantage in their defending national champions, and they're the number one team in the country. That should hold some weight with kids that actually want to win and compete for championships. You have to imagine kids in this Florida class, the Alabama class, are looking around like with potential uncertainties as hot seats start to heat up. I would imagine the Buckeyes are going to be active in the transfer portal and take a few swings here, especially being that we've heard that the Buckeyes have lost a lot of recruitments, not because guys don't want to be at Ohio State, but the Buckeyes haven't been coming close with these NIL offers due to the uncertainty of how the rulings around NIL and what the rules are going to be. And if the Buckeyes just say, hey, we have the money, we're going to give it out. Like, we're not going to just be holding on, waiting for Congress and the NCAA to tell us that what we can do and how we can spend. I have no doubt that the Buckeyes are going to be able to flip people, especially as the Buckeyes are going into the playoffs, I would imagine, as a high seed, contending for another national championship in a program that looks like it's going to continue to roll. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to flip people. And then that you talked about that December window. The December window is going to become even more important now with the changes to the transfer portal window, with the single portal window in just December now. And Ryan Day talked about not liking that window, especially with us being a team that he anticipates is going to be preparing for a playoff game and competing for a national championship year in and year out. And that splits the staff's focus of preparing for the playoffs. You saw the Buckeyes have performed well in the transfer portal historically. What do you think about the condensing of this window and the constraints that puts on the coaching staff if the Buckeyes are going to be continuing to contend for championships year in and year out and preparing for playoff games while they're also having to evaluate talent in the transfer portal and recruit these kids?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it's pretty hard to be done. I mean, we've been a spring window team because we really usually at the end of December, we're like, man, we got to go play in the playoffs. We got to compete for a natty. In most years, it's like we don't have the time to get out, and then you just have guys coming on campus when coaches are super busy. So, I mean, I don't like it. Also, you don't know who you're going to lose. I mean, you're going into the playoffs. A guy may be on the fringe and then have a good playoff run. The next thing you know, he's like, oh, I'm off to the draft. Appreciate it, fellas. And we're like, oh, that's great. We now have no more left tackles, but hey, we're happy for you. Now we got to replace guys with just who's on roster. So, I mean, I think the NCAA does everything except what they need to do. I mean, I wish this was my job and I could just find random things to help out with that I don't need to do and avoid the hard stuff, but that's the NCAA for you. So I don't think it helps. I mean, it's the busiest time of year for Ohio State, so we'll see how it goes. But again, it's college football. You adapt. And I don't know where Ron went, but anyway, I don't know, man. The window, the constraints and stuff, it is hard for Ohio State to adapt. So, but we'll see. It seems like they're trying to do their better job. They can adapt their recruiting and they can somehow get guys in the door in the portal. Ron, are you good over there?
Yeah, I had a.
I was like, I'm just gonna carry on. But then you start looking up. I'm distracted now.
No, a window behind my current browser started playing, and it was yesterday's show. So I heard the start of the show playing, and I'm like, I don't see the intro playing on the screen. Q's still talking. I don't know where this is coming from. And I'm just like looking around confused because I hear yesterday's show in my ears, but I also hear you talking and it's not on the screen. So I was like, what's going on here? I don't want to say anything and distract the show, but I couldn't find the browser. So I just dropped down.
I was like, maybe what I'm saying makes no sense at all.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. You hope the Buckeyes are able to get it done in the transfer portal, and I really don't think it works out well for teams that are competing at the end of the year and really benefits teams that are kind of done with their season and really only have to focus on a bowl game. And if not even that. If they don't have a bowl game, they have all the time in the world to attack the transfer portal. I did want to pivot and talk a little bit more about this year's team. Ryan Day talked about Lincoln Kienholz and emphasized he's still one play away from being needed for the Buckeyes and thought that he played well against Grambling State. Q, your thoughts on Lincoln's performance? Only one incompletion.
Yeah, I thought he played well as well. And Lincoln has been, from what we heard in practice, streaky, just not quite as consistent, maybe throwing the ball. But I mean, we know all the talent is there. And I think Lincoln, I mean, it's a long season. He might get his chance. I mean, we've also always had a backup quarterback come in at some point and play a series or have to close out a game. So, I think he's developed pretty well. Maybe hasn't quite got there yet to Ohio State level starting quarterback, but it's still important time for Lincoln. He's got a lot of football ahead of him, an entire career ahead of him. So I think he's played well. I would love to see him get some snaps against maybe, a Big Ten team and see how he performs against some better talent. But I mean, I think he's done everything. And obviously him staying this long, competing for the job, I mean, it just says a lot about his character. And he was also an Iron Buckeye, and that means a lot to people. So, I mean, I think Lincoln's on the right path, and I applaud him staying it out because it's easy. It's very easy to be like, man, I'm not going to start here. I'm just out of here, and I'll go anywhere. So, which a lot of players do across the country. So, I mean, I've been impressed with Lincoln this season, impressed with his time on the field.
Yeah, I think it's really good that Ryan Day was able to get Lincoln that many snaps. It was cool to see Tavian, but I couldn't agree more. Like, there's going to be a time, even Will didn't take any significant injuries last year, but we still saw Devin have to come in and get in games and moments when games were still technically on the line. So having Lincoln get those snaps and see him look competent out there had to be encouraging for Buckeye fans, knowing that, hey, if something were to happen, God forbid, we do have a capable backup.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You never know. And when Ohio State puts in a backup, I mean, usually they have all the faith in the world in them. Having Devin Brown last year throw that pass, it was like, oh man, just come in, don't turn the ball over. Nope, throw a dot to JJ. So, I mean, I think backup quarterbacks have played in big spots, and obviously it's just comfort in Ryan Day and the staff and their ability. And I think Lincoln is that next guy. So we'll see, but we're going to need him. Like it or not, we're going to need him. So I wish nothing but the best for Lincoln this season, and I want to see him continue to get game time.
Absolutely, and you hope the Buckeyes are able to get out ahead in this upcoming game and find a way to get Lincoln on the field just to see if they are able to get him a few more snaps. We talked a little bit earlier in the show. Ryan Day confirmed that Joey McGuire is still the punter, but did think Nick McLarty hit a few good punts in that he only had one punt, and they thought it was a good punt. When Julian Carnell Tate also spoke to the media and said, when Julian throws the ball, it's special. We've heard the wide receivers talk about this multiple times. A lot of people assume that Julian would be the starter, given that Jeremiah Smith had similar things to say about Julian during the offseason. Q, your thoughts on just how accurate Julian's saying is? Were you surprised by just his level of poise and consistency in that second game after coming off a huge win?
Yeah. So personally, I didn't watch a lot of Julian in high school. So this is really my first time really seeing him play, because obviously he wasn't coming to Ohio State until he was coming to Ohio State. So now the quarterback I focused in on, but I mean, coming in and see him, the way he played against Texas, and obviously Grambling, that's hard to do no matter who you're playing. You're playing against me and Ron. If you go 18 for 18 or 17 for 17, not the easiest thing to do. So no, I've been thoroughly impressed with his ball placement. Like I said, if you're on time, on target at Ohio State, good things will happen, especially with the wide receivers we have out here running around. And like I said, with the freak shows at Ohio State, if you can get the ball there, let them do the rest. And he's done that this season. So like I said, we're waiting to see his name in Heisman campaigns. We continue to play like this. He will be up there soon. I've seen him and JJ, I think, at plus 2,000 by one book. So they're working their way up there. But I've been very impressed with Julian saying. I didn't know what to expect, especially going into that Texas game, because you never know. We've had guys with a lot of hype come in, and sometimes they've been good, and sometimes they haven't, and it happens. So the fact that he's been a hit, especially when we needed him to, I mean, we're like, I don't know, man. We got this room. We got a bunch of guys who have been developing. Let's see what they can do. And the fact that he is a direct hit, and we're like, okay, that's a Ryan Day quarterback. Like that means the world to this team and for the season.
Absolutely. Peyton Pierce also talked to the media and brought up Riley Pettijohn. He said he's a freak athlete. He's got a good sense for the ball. He studies a lot, and he's a good student of the game and cares and works really hard. He's got everything you want in a linebacker. Ryan Day talked earlier. I mean, we mentioned it earlier in the pod. Ryan Day talks about getting guys that they think are fit for them. And it's starting to become a theme with every guy that you hear about, that they are these playbook junkies, facility warriors. They're constantly at the Woody. They're constantly working. They're constantly grinding. It feels like Ryan Day. And do you think the fact that they are so precise about the types of guys that they want to bring into the program, when you continuously hear this about the young guys that they're bringing in, do you think that it's hard for them to fill out a class at the numbers that they want and also find all the culture fits? Because it feels like they are finding mini professionals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is very hard, especially, I mean, it's hard to get guys to, especially in college now. I mean, just think about the fact, if you're a top 300, 400 player in the country, you can pretty much almost go anywhere, and you're also getting offered money to go many places. So to have the discipline to come to Ohio State knowing how they treat the organization, as you like to call it, you have to be professional. You have to be in the playbook. You have to learn what you have to do, or you're not going to hit the field no matter how talented you are. And we've said at times, we've seen guys like, this guy's super talented, wait for him to play, and like we have to wait a while because they have to adjust to that professional mindset. So does it make it hard? Yes. But we had this talk, especially when Mike was here, where we were like, hey, if your culture is good enough, those few guys who may not have that professional mindset, you bring them in and they'll develop it because it's what everyone else does. So I think that's the more important thing of like, all you really need is like 70% of guys to have that professional mindset. If you're at 70, the last 30 will be like, well, shoot, if I ever want to play here or see the field or, get some on in-game picks, like I better be on my stuff. If I ever want to play here and hold that starting responsibility and not have somebody in the portal come replace me, like I better be on my game. So it's great to hear from the freshmen. And we heard a couple of years ago with Carnell Tate and Jelani Thurman about they were just in the Woody 24/7, and now we see it paying off. I mean, Carnell Tate could be a first-round pick this season, and Jelani Thurman is definitely on the rise, and we know the talent is there. So, I mean, that's what it takes to play at this level. And I think it makes it hard? Like, yeah, it's if you were asking me coming out of high school, like, hey, I'm going to need you to be in the Woody 20. I'm like, bro, I got a jersey and a number on the wall. I'm out and about. Like, hey, catch me on Saturday, but that's just me. That's why I didn't get an offer. So I think it's extremely tough to do that week in, week out and stay focused.
I want to apologize for the audience. My head has been down for the last 10 minutes because I've been trying to find a comment on this episode that is going to be used in a segment that we have coming up. And I want to give the shout out, and it's going to have to wait until tomorrow for me to acknowledge who it was because I cannot find the comment anywhere, Q, and I'm losing my mind over here. But yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. It feels like it speaks to the organization that Ryan Day is running here, and they have a particular type of guy, and it clearly is working and is playing a huge role. And why, when we see guys get on the field, we have 8 new starters on the defense, and people are talking about, is this defense better than last year? How much these guys are ready to go because of the type of preparation that goes on inside the Woody. I did want to pivot a little bit. Actually, we can just go right into what has been distracting the show for the last 15 minutes while I try to find this comment. Q, this is the show of nicknames for the Buckeyes. We have Oppenhauer. We were talking about J. Cole the other day here. We called Bill Howard. We love a nickname on this show. Lion Day, like we have nicknames for everyone around here, and every time I hear a new nickname, a new nickname is proposed to me, I'm like, oh, we're talking about it on the show. And we got a comment the other day, and I cannot find it, and I'm going to find it and give this person their flowers on the screen when I can. They proposed a new nickname for one of our running backs. And one of our running backs already has the option to have 2 of the most unique names or not very unique names in college football and go by either Lamar Jackson or Bo Jackson. And it's like, which one do you go with? The 2-time NFL MVP or the NFL Hall of Fame running back? He goes by Bo Jackson. And someone in the comments suggested, since he has 2 NFL greats in his name, why not just combine them and we start calling him Lambo Jackson. We had Maserati Marv. What about Lambo Jackson? I personally love it.
Honestly, I would be out on the car nicknames because we get too many car nicknames come through this, but
Honda
that play on
McCord,
names-
Maserati Marv,
Yeah.
Lambo Jackson. Come
I mean,
on
the
now.
fact that you're combining Lamar and Bone to Lambo. I think that's a solid hit right there. I mean, that's creative.
Yeah,
I get I get it now. Okay, no, I'm rocking with that. So I think that's elite. I can roll with that. I think somebody
I think we may have officially changed his name on the program, and we will be calling him Lambo Jackson around here. I thought that was too great of a nickname to pass up. I'm like, he's fast out there. You know what I mean? He's like a sports car, a big time recruit for the Buckeyes, and you combine two great names. It's like you get the I like Bo Jackson, but like, yo, your name's actually Lamar Jackson too. Like, you could go by two NFL great names. How about we combine them and give you your own next name? Kind of like, yeah, you're LeBron James Jr., but we're gonna call you Bronny. Like, you're gonna be famous and great anyways. Let's give you your own name, Lambo Jackson, and mark it down here. What's the date? It's 8:45 a.m. on 9/11. If I hear Lambo Jackson from anyone other than the person in the comments after, just know it started here with our viewers.
Whoever did that, go ahead and get the copyright.
Absolutely. I'm gonna give them a shout out on. Oh, I'm not getting it on the timeline because then everybody's gonna steal it. I'm gonna shout them out on the show tomorrow, so then I can clip it and put it on the timeline. But man, shout out to our viewers getting the show around here and the type of content that we like and providing a great nickname like that. If you got any other nicknames for our players, drop them in the comments.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Especially the way he's playing. You know what I'm saying? By the end of the season, Lambo Jackson is one of the best running backs in the country. And it's like, we know where that started. So whoever that was, shout out to them. That's a quality nickname right there.
Because, you know, like they always like to ask, well, where'd you get that name from? Well, on the Buckeye Roast, my name is Lamar Jackson and Bo Jackson. They said Lambo.
That is great.
Before we get out of here, today is a live show. So if you guys do have any questions in the chat, go ahead and drop those and we will get to them at the end. I did want to give some transfer updates before we get out of here. And I think we had a black stripe alert or two to get to. Updates on Ohio State transfer. Aaron Nolan makes his debut, but 0 pass attempts. Devin Brown gets in the game after, is it JKS is his name?
JKS. You got it.
JKS. JKS struggled a little bit, but then Cal pulls away, and Devin Brown got an opportunity through the only passing touchdown of the game. Quarterback battle brewing.
Some life there.
Some life there. Hero Kanu gets his first start at Texas. Q. Are the Buckeyes smacking themselves? It feels like I want to talk. There are rumors that Hero Kanu would still be at Ohio State if he knew that someone was going to Penn State. Does it feel like the Buckeyes missed an opportunity there keeping Hero Kanu? He's starting for a top 10 team in the country. The Buckeyes still trying to figure out the defensive tackle rotation. Should the Buckeyes have made more of an effort to keep Hero Kanu here?
I think so. I think the tackle depth was something we worried about, and we knew that coming into this season. I mean, luckily for us, Edric Houston is now a D tackle instead of a DN, because if he was still out there at 260 playing DN, it would really be a struggle. So thank God for that. But we've kind of fell into that. I think we looked at this year and we're like, okay, we know Jason Moore will be a backup. And we know Tywone Malone will be a backup, but we don't know how good they are. They haven't played. Hero Kanu at least played a little bit. So we were like, I thought he was important to keep. Obviously he goes to Texas and he starts there. So made a good decision. But yeah, him in this defensive tackle rotation now would be a big help, especially when we know having the drop off between the first unit and the second unit. I think Hero Kanu, if he started here at Texas, he can start. He can play here. So more than definitely, I think it was a mistake. And it happens. We've had guys leave before and go ball out. So that is part of it. But yeah, it feels like there was a slot here for Hero Kanu that just was waiting on him. And then he just left too soon. And we're like, oh man, you would have been perfect fit for this. I mean, we've seen it before with guys when they leave and we're like, man, we can sure use you now. We can use you while you're here efficiently, but now that you're gone, now we miss you. So yeah.
Do we need a hero Kanu, Justin Bieber? Where are you now at it?
You just remind me of a story I heard yesterday, but I'll tell you after. I'll tell you after the show. I cannot mention it right now. It's not show appropriate.
I wanted to continue on that same line of questioning as far as did the Buckeyes fumble? Mitchell Melton gets to start at Virginia. His snaps doubled. It felt like he was, I mean, we knew Jim Knowles loved him some Mitchell Melton. That was a guy that we thought would potentially play the jack position. We see linebackers moving all around. They go to the portal and get Bo Atkinson. Should the Buckeyes have, again, made more of an effort to keep Mitchell Melton, a guy that we've seen, I mean, he played last year, is a guy that we know is capable of playing at Ohio State? With the questions that they had on the defensive line, were those two guys that they should have made an effort to keep?
I mean, I'd say it probably have been a little bit harder to keep Mitchell Melton. Obviously, we know linebackers, and obviously he's on his last year, I believe. So it's like it's hard to do that and say, hey, you're not going to come here and you're guaranteed. Well, I'll say no, nothing's guaranteed, but pretty much you're guaranteed to start, especially with the linebackers we have currently. I know we're using more guys, find a way to get CJ Hicks involved. Now we're using lineups, we use linebackers everywhere, and we take defense line off the field and say, hey, we got like 5 pass rushers now, but I think Mitchell Melton's last year, the end of his career, I think he needs to be playing full-time snaps. So I don't know if we had quite enough snaps to keep him happy, and I definitely want to see him play full-time ball and have a chance to go to the next level. I mean, we've had plenty of guys transfer out of here, go play and end up in the pros. So I think not being able to guarantee.
You heard it here first. Mitchell Melton, the Jamison Williams of the defense. You said it here, right here on the Buckeye Roast. Where else are you going to get hot takes like that?
Direct quote. So no, I'm hoping he balls out, but I mean, for me, that would have been hard to keep him saying, hey, like, I don't know if I can give you 30, 40 snaps a game.
Absolutely. Fair point there. I wanted to finish up the transfer updates. Pat Gurd doubled his snap count at Cincinnati, so shout out to him getting some playing time over there at tight end. George Fitzpatrick still dealing with a medical issue and has not made his debut for Kansas State yet. Zen Michalski saw 7 snaps at Indiana, up from his, I believe, 3 or 4 that he saw last week. Jaden Ballard had 2 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown for Wisconsin. Jaden Ballard legacy game here this weekend against Alabama. You'll have to wait and see. Gabe Powers earns his first start at Kansas State and almost saw a doubling in snaps. It feels like the Buckeye transfers are finally starting to get their footing at their new homes and showing exactly why Ohio State wanted them in the first place. A couple of DMPs, as we mentioned previously. Jaden Bonsu is out for the season. Miles Walker has not made an appearance yet for Boise State, and Kojo is still dealing with an Achilles injury at Colorado State. We did have 2 black stripe alerts, Q.
Who's the new Buckeyes?
All right, let me practice this name. Jarquez Carter.
Oh, you got it this time.
Yeah! People that watch the show regularly know that name gives me the most trouble out of any name that we've had on the show in 3 years. So to be able to get that one out, exciting for me here. I think it's like a black stripe alert for me on the show. Like I can finally say his name. But yeah, you see him. He's made 2 appearances. And he's made an appearance in both games since the season has started. To see a freshman get on the field against Texas in the number 1 matchup seems to say a lot about how the Buckeyes feel about Jarquez Carter in a position that we were just talking about. Are they going to miss out on Hero Kanu? Do you think that could be a guy that potentially fills one of those roles and becomes a depth piece on that defensive line?
I mean, I don't think he has much choice. He played against Texas. Yeah, that's a bat signal. Like, hey, we need you ready like yesterday, because we obviously so. But it's Jarquez Carter. I mean, he's played well. I mean, that's the guy I talked about in the preseason, saying, hey, like we've talked about these depth issues. I mean, he was the guy, the defensive tackle. We're like, oh, we're happy we're able to hold on to him despite pushes from Miami and other schools. So I think it's a guy who pretty much needs to be ready to play, ready to go and play snaps consistently by mid-season. So, I mean, it's good he lost his black stripe, and shout out to you for getting his name right. Of all the names that come through Ohio State over the last since we started the show, that would not be the name I thought that would trip you up it's you know what it made me think of? I'm watching Peacemaker right now, and this dude was like, "Yo, I have one weakness, bird blindness, and he can't tell different birds apart." It's so silly. He gets attacked by this eagle, and he was like, "I don't know, man. I got knocked out by some duck." It's just so random, but yeah. So
I feel like it was just so late at night when we were recording that show. It was at like 3 a.m, and my brain was complete mush. We did have another black stripe alert, and again, we talked about the depth concerns on the defensive line. And are they even actual concerns? Zion Grady gets his black stripe removed. Another guy that we heard about during fall camp could make a potential push to get significant snaps on this defensive line at defensive end. And you see him get his black stripe off, gets a sack in the last game. Could the Buckeyes see 2 freshmen contributing on this defensive line this year in meaningful snaps?
I mean, yeah, of course they would, and as they should. I mean, we talked about why is Georgia's defensive line so good? It's because as soon as guys get there, no matter their recruiting ranking, whatever, they're on the field playing. And we've seen, I mean, we played Georgia in the college football playoff. We saw freshmen on the field making an impact very early. We're like, hey, I wish we could do that here. We got a first rounder and Mike Hall on the bench. We can't even get them in behind the guys we have playing. So, I mean, it's good to see it. I think it's going to help develop depth. And obviously those guys are ready to go. We talked about it. Like, I talked about this pass rush. I mean, is Zion Grady the only defensive lineman with a sack? Like, I know Arvo Reese coming in was the only one, so we might be the only other one. I have to double check that stat, but I mean, if those guys are playing well and they can build this season, I mean, that next season you're going to look at those guys like, okay, these are impact players because they have the reps. They've played in live action, and now when the guys before them walk out and go to the pros, they're ready to go.
Good shout from our guy Doug here. Jarquez Carter benched 225 the summer before his senior year of high school. Enough times he would have placed 3rd on the Buckeyes roster.
Yeah, no, I heard his strength is crazy. So I wonder what his rep count is actually. If you know that, let me know. But yeah, no, he's a big dude, man, and he's athletic. Hey, never can bench one of those guys. You know my rule. I own my guys 325 running under a 540.
I don't know if he does either of those. Listed at 6'1", 288 as a true freshman. We know Mick is going to have a field day bulking him up over the summer. Q, that's all I have in the notes. We did have some playoff questions, but I think that is going to have to wait for tomorrow. We're running a little bit low on time. There are 428 people watching, 370 on Twitter, another 70 on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button. It really helps the episode get going in the mornings. It does us a huge favor. I did have a question from our guy Doug that we wanted to get to. Are you guys doing a Sunday show again? The answer is kind of. The Bleacher Report post-game with me and Chris Drew will start re-airing on Sundays at 7:30 in the morning. You will also have Chris Drew's college football reactions at 3 p.m. And then you will be getting the I-71 rundown, a Sunday episode on Sunday nights. So we will have 3 shows on Sundays going forward. So be sure to tune into the Dead Air Sports on Sundays, because there will be 3 different pieces of content recapping all things college football, Buckeyes, and national sports in general on the I-71 rundown. So be sure to tune in to all that on Sundays. Glad that you asked, Doug. But Q, that's all I have for today. So want to let the people know where to find you?
Yeah, man. I don't always like waking up at 5 in the morning, but to hang out with y'all, sometimes it's worth it. So no, it's been a really fun show. So appreciate everyone in the chat. Before you go, 400 some people in here. Make sure you like that video. We were able to hit 100 yesterday while I was not here. So when I come back, if we do not hit 100, I'm gonna be disappointed and say I think it's just me. So please hit that like button and do that. Thank you for everybody in the comments. It's good to see all the familiar faces. If you want to find me, I'm City Boy Quitting on Twitter, Find Johnson on Instagram. But here, Monday through Friday, most weeks when I'm not moving, here on the Dead Air Sports channel on the Buckeye Roast. So again, if you haven't subbed, make sure you do that. Make sure you like the video and tell a friend, man. We're having some fun in here early in the morning. So it helps you wake up and get ready for work. So make sure you do that. Ron, where can they find you at?
You can find me here Monday through Friday on Dead Air Sports for the Buckeye Roast, here with my guy Q. Usually tomorrow we have a special guest. You guys are going to have to wait to find out who that is filling in for Q. So be sure to tune in for tomorrow's episode and our special guest, and make sure that you run that like button up and make sure Q's feelings don't feel hurt that we're doing 100 likes when he's not here. So be sure to smash that like button today. You can find me on Twitter at 2Ts. That's 2_TEES. We appreciate everybody tuning in here at the Buckeye Roast. And you know how this thing ends. It's always go Bucks. And of course, OH.
IO.
Example, when things get hard in life, you just keep swinging as hard as you can, you fight. That's our culture.
I promised you we had a plan. Remember that we talked about a plan? The plan was infallible. Part of that infallible plan is getting a team prepared, ready to go, so we start practice. Our coaches know what we got. And there's not one person in America I trusted more than Coach Mick and that staff. Think about this. 130 teams either today they report or they've already reported. 130. 16 weeks from now, there's going to be one champion. One champion in our conference, one champion on the side of our conference. And in the country, one team's going to do this. Not 36, not 48, not 44, one. That tells you how hard it is to be a champion. To do right all the time. To know your assignments. To have 11 guys play hard on every staff. That's hard. That's why there's one. I want a hungry team. I want a hungry team. I want a team that can't wait to get out there. Where there's a bunch of players that maybe, whenever a new coaching staff, you haven't played much, maybe you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're a hungry football player. I want a hungry team. And last one, most importantly, I've got to coach a few of them. I want an angry team. I want a pissed off football team. I want a team that has a little chip on their shoulder. Maybe something's been taken from you. Maybe something hasn't. Maybe something's been taken from you. Are you a team that's going to go get it? You're the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're an angry football team. You got an angry staff. You got a bunch of guys that are getting ready to start a journey. We're starting that journey tomorrow at 5 a.m. You're a hungry football team, and I'm proud to be your coach.